Ever since he got out of jail, Andrew Tate's life has been under scrutiny by the whole world. So it wasn't a surprise that when he did an interview with the BBC, it went viral. A lot of streamers have weighed their opinions on the matter, but nothing beats HasanAbi and his fiery comments. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be talking about the Twitch streamer and left-wing political commentator Hasan Piker and his strong comments about Andrew Tate. Trust me, you are in for a ride. So without further ado, let's begin. First things first, before we begin our venture studying HasanAbi's comments, let us talk about the main focus of the world right now, Andrew Tate. He has to be one of the most influential yet most hated guys in the world. People like HasanAbi come to mind. But why would he do that right now? Well, let's talk about the various details surrounding Andrew Tate's BBC interview and the backstory to it, so that we could develop some context in order to understand what Tate is trying to say and how HasanAbi is opposing it. As you all know, ever since his release from prison in April, Andrew Tate has been on house arrest. However, the terms of his house arrest limited him to making online statements through podcasts or interviews. We could only hear him through his social media tweets, etc. But all this changed in a recent interview with BBC News, where Tate discussed the claims against him. And knowing Tate, it was surprising that he got into an argument with reporter Lucy Williamson. The interview revolved around the fact that Tate, his brother Tristan Tate, and two other suspects were all taken into custody on charges of human trafficking, rape, and organizing an armed criminal enterprise. While the two haven't been found guilty, BBC aimed to shine a light on the whole issue through this interview. Speaking of which, let us now talk about what was discussed in the interview. Well, during the course of the conversation, when asked about the paid courses at his Hustlers University, Tate justified his actions by saying that he was a force for good, following God's orders. If you didn't know, Hustlers University was a pyramid scheme designed to maximize Tate's fan following. That is not all. When concerns were raised that he promoted a misogynistic rape culture based on claims made by rights activists in the interview, he disputed and disregarded them completely. Tate retorted and claimed that he is against drinking and knife crime and advocates hard work, discipline, and anti-drug messages. He argued that he is actually against everything wrong in the world and promotes the opposite. That is not all, as when questioned about the many contentious comments he has made over the years, Tate said they were misconstrued or meant as jokes. One such comment was one in which he said that a man claimed possession of his woman's private parts. He now justifies this claim as it being sarcasm or jokes. I know, the whole thing feels a little ludicrous, but we are just people observing everything. Imagine what a proper streamer and a political commentator will have to say. A lot of people were waiting for HasanAbi to speak up about the whole interview. This is also due to the fact of his obvious hatred of Tate. He has made it clear throughout the years that he disagrees with Tate's perspectives, and unsurprisingly, he didn't hold back in this interview too. As we have already discussed during his interview, Tate was asked a number of probing questions about the charges leveled against him. But Tate's answers were always the same, and his go-to defense was always revolving around the words, "I didn't say it." Well, for starters, HasanAbi took note of this. He did not spend any time calling him out. Instead, he just pointed to the mountain of online data that disproves Tate's claims. And he is right. A lot of things Tate has done and said are documented all over the internet to see. Whatever he might say now, they are out there as evidence for anyone to see. Secondly, HasanAbi also made fun of the famous influencer. When discussing how Tate can manage to correct his public image, he said sarcastically, "I think the only way for Andrew Tate to get out of this is to say he is an insecure baby." Now that might sound like banter to a lot of you, but it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. He basically means that all his claims can make sense if he just admits to being an insecure baby, indicating he only speaks absurdly. Further adding on to his words, HasanAbi also mentioned how Tate had got himself into trouble because of his beliefs. Tate's only hope to save himself is if he comes out and admits to lying. But we all know that that will never happen. The damage is done now, and if he goes back on his words, he will just further damage his reputation. At least, by lying, he can maintain a certain fan following. We have discussed a lot of what was discussed in the interview, but what you didn't know is that in trying to provide a more complete picture, Tate's crew uploaded the whole version of the BBC interview to YouTube. Yes, I am talking about the complete, uncut version. HasanAbi, on the other hand, wasted no time voicing his disagreement, calling the move a mistake. After viewing the unedited interview, he said he felt bad for people who accept Tate's ideas without question. He also couldn't help making light of Tate's lack of credibility by making fun of his usage of terms like the Matrix attack in a serious setting. And in all honesty, I don't blame him. Releasing the unedited version might have its advantages, like the issue of taking things out of context might be limited now, but it further adds fuel to the hate towards Tate. Whatever might his team say, there were a lot of questionable answers to some questions, something which would have certainly raised a lot of eyebrows. And yes, while I understand what Tate meant by the term matrix attack, he could have used better words. Such terms just lower your credibility as a person. I am pretty sure a lot of people have started taking him as a joke. Speaking of which, HasanAbi's words would have definitely fueled further fire toward the hate for Tate. The streamer has built a reputation as someone who doesn't hold back when giving an honest opinion, as evidenced by his frank reviews. That is what he is known for, and that is what he will keep doing, no matter if his subjects are influential like Tate. His audience loves him because he always says what they're thinking and gives them something to think about with his remark. He might not be as influential as Tate, but he still has a substantial following. In the end, I would just like to say that HasanAbi and Andrew Tate's ongoing debate is a prime example of the value of free expression and in-depth thought in the modern era of social media. It's a helpful reminder to question the veracity of any famous figure's claims, no matter how large their fan base is. While it is true HasanAbi is known to overplay things for more publicity, what he has claimed about Tate is completely true. If you ever find a blind Tate fan, just ask him to listen to HasanAbi. Maybe he will start seeing some sense. Knowing Andrew Tate, this issue will never end, until and unless he is found to be guilty. Until then, such online squabbles will most likely keep on erupting. That is a wrap, folks. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new video from us. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like and leave a comment. See you in the next one.